Hello everyone, and welcome back to the eighth installment of the discussions, where I give you guys a update on what we've been working on discussions, as well cover some of the stories post on Discusions.app. And this week we have a two very special guests joining us. That is Fred and Adrianna. Fred of pixEOS and Adrianna of Cypherglass. So do you guys want to say hi real quick?
Hi there. Thanks for having us on. Hope everybody's safe and well.
Hey everyone, it's a great pleasure to be here.
Yep. So that's Fred and Adrianna, and also with us on this lovely Sunday is Brian and Paul, my teammates from Novosphere, as well as Jimmy D of Uplift Nation and Tribe. So a nice round table of guests. I think that's the expression. So yeah, let me maybe a little too formal. So Fred, this is not your first time on the show. I think last time we talked, you guys was just releasing the RK. Now this time you guys are releasing a new project. So why don't we jump into that right away?
Sure. Yeah, we just launched our flagship products that gave us a lot of headaches to get to the stage we are now, because I would say it's the first professional art platform running on EOS. And we're proud to say that out of the Ethereum platforms is the one that is growing like super fast. We launched 2 weeks ago, roughly. And we have some remarkable milestones already on the platform. Is working seamless so far. New implementations to come, I would say, every week. So tomorrow we're updating the version of the gallery. The notifications are coming, so the users, they can finally get notified of everything that is going on in the platform. And yeah, the NFT standard is evolving, like much more functionalities to come, and our crowd growing. That is awesome to see, both in the art side and the collector side. So it's already a proven great use case going on in EOS that we should have a look at.
Yeah. I was just playing around with the site. I'm gonna edit in a video. Actually, let me share my screen. So who has played with the site here? I mean, obviously, we have Fred, of course. He's probably like sleeping on the website, as many.
Yeah, sleeping, eating, and all the rest.
Yeah, I mean, I feel your pain, brother. Like, you just want to make sure everything works well. So I'm sharing a video right now on Discord. I think you guys could join on the video. So it's just the gallery. So do you want to walk us through a little bit of the gallery and some pieces of it?
Sure. So yeah, what's important to say? Like, we try to put together a marketplace with a very user friendly interface, and to be evolved to welcome any crypto or non-crypto user to interact with it. This is just the beginning. So if you go through registration, it's pretty standard registration with an email. Why the email? Because like, you're dealing with an art platform, you need to be notified of the bids you make when you are outbidded, if the artwork you were bidding was sold, if a new artwork was published. So there's no other way to seamlessly connect and deal with the artists and the collectors.
How many artists do you guys have on the platform at the moment?
I'll be honest that I didn't count yet. We're already reaching the 170 users milestone, including artists and collectors and users in general. So this in 15 days with pure organic promotion. We not even had time to write a proper post-launch article yet. We're working on it.
Oh, wow.
So it's pure organic month-to-month promotion.
Very
In
nice. Very
artists, I
nice.
would say that we have over probably 30 artists already publishing the platform, with some not like very important crypto artists out there and trendsetters like Robnes and Max Osiris. They already published. Max Osiris sold already his first EOS tokenized artwork. That is quite remarkable, because he always sold in Ethereum. And it's someone quite respected in the crypto art scene.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to say, just, scrolling or looking through the site, what I like about it is there's just so many different types of artwork, like so many different genres, that so many different styles. It's really cool. Very different from if you were to walk into an art gallery and you have to go floor by floor through genre by genre. But it's a really cool place to just go and, scroll around, I think.
Yeah, we try to like bring diversity to the gallery, so we're trying to have a very, very diverse set of artists and artworks there. Very soon you have all the search system. Like many people, they see these as just a website, but there are so many components that are parts of like a professional online art gallery that we will need to launch them step by step. There's a lot of testing needed. There's a lot of suggestions that we have both from the users and the artists that we are implementing. So very soon you have a way to search by style, by artist, by you name it, by tags. So yeah, this is coming and will make people's life easy on navigating the website. And just like you asked about how many artists we have 56 registered artists already in the platform in 2 weeks.
Very nice, very nice. And I mean, I tried to bid for a piece of artwork. I think it was before it was ready, so my bid got rejected. But yeah, no, I think it's really cool. NFT, right? Being able to own a piece of digital art on the blockchain is something quite interesting. I think quite new. So yeah. But you have a close collaborator in this, and that's Adrianna. So I want to bring her into the fold. So Adrianna, yeah, like how did you find Fred? How did you get involved with this pixEOS project?
Yeah, so Cypherglass is one of the founding EOS block producers, and we were established in May of 2018. And back when we got involved with the EOS community, we already had our eyes on pixEOS with some of the announcements that were coming out and projects that we had been really interested in. And so, Ben, who is our marketing advisor, reached out to Fred and actually asked them if they were looking for any strategic partnerships, and they were. We kind of joined forces way back in the day when they were first getting started, and we kind of contributed to some of the marketing and business development opportunities that we saw for them, and just contributed ideas and brainstormed and helped these guys bounce some ideas around. And I think when you're a project owner in this space, that's a really valuable tool because you get so close to your baby, and then you need outside perspective to kind of help steer the overall message and tone of the project. And we've been able to do that back and forth with each other, not just pixEOS, but with Cypherglass as a block producer. So I think it's been a really valuable relationship that's kind of grown over time. And it's been really awesome to watch these guys grow up right in front of our eyes. I mean, we were around when they first launched the Pixel Gallery and the token things were coming out. And there was a lot of buzz. And we've learned so much from these guys as a use case. Other dApps and other NFT projects are going to be able to succeed much faster because these guys have really laid the groundwork. So I'm really, really proud of this team and this project.
And we wouldn't be here if it wasn't Cypherglass. So I'm really, really thankful for all the support and even strength, because it's not easy. It's almost 1 year and a half that we've been in this route. And a lot of people guessed, and a lot of people don't understand what is behind this kind of product, and like how much research and how many failures that we needed to go through in this almost 1 year and a half to learn the ideal business model and to have a robust platform and to understand the community and to understand like where we need to head and look to succeed long term. And I think we evolved greatly also, thankfully to Cypherglass and other partnerships that we had and people that they held our hands in the beginning. They got to know the team. They seen that like we're serious, we're building, we're working very hard for this. And right now is the result. And you can just like follow us on Twitter and see the buzz around the platform, and like artists joining EOS and users joining EOS just because of the EOS NFT marketplace. And this is very, very important that we understand, we look out, and we can keep this going and sustain that. I think it's the first use case where I see so many people from other blockchain leaving a bit behind their tribalism to look into a platform that is actually super cool. And that is evolving every day. We're improving every day. We're looking at the other platforms. We're trying to solve all the problems that we find out there. It's super early for us, so there's so much more to come on the pixEOS Gallery.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you guys work very close. Adriana, did you have something you want to add?
No, I mean, Fred's really onto something when he says, there's an aspect of both of our jobs, whether you're, as a founder, as a project owner, me as a block producer, and as a DApp project developer. I think there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see or necessarily understand. And he's right. It can be really difficult to kind of face all of the consistent criticism, and some of it is not constructive. So I think, anyone who's
in this space,
right. Yeah, and I think anybody that's still in the game at this point, whether it's EOS or blockchain in general, really deserves a pat on the back, because it's a really tough road. It's not always paved with thank yous and oh my goshes and always see that hard work. So I think it's really nice to just have a partner in this, a professional partner that we can lean on for that kind of validation and constructive criticism. And I think, there's so many of us in the EOS space, whether we're block producers or project owners, who act as, consulting departments, and we kind of lend our skill sets to each other. And it is nice. It's really created some camaraderie. And I think the last 2 years of, being forged through fire has really produced some really strong projects, and pixEOS is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I guess like I think that's the aspect of the value of having a BP that most people may not notice, which is, as a project like Discussions, we reach out to ES Nation to cover stories, or reach out to ask them about different projects, and it's all been super supportive. And it sounds like Cypherglass is doing the same for pixEOS. So I think that's, again, like, that's one aspect of this DPoS model that maybe it doesn't get highlighted as much.
Right, definitely. And you guys do a really great job of shining light on things that I think deserve to be seen and heard. So kudos to you guys, because I think it takes these kinds of projects like Discussion to keep a historical outlook on things, to see where we came from. Because I know in a few years we're going to really enjoy looking back at this content and saying, remember when our projects were just starting out, or remember when they were growing here, remember we were going through those challenges. I think it's important to document all this stuff. So you guys should give yourselves a pat on the back.
Oh, thank you. Pat. Okay, so.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of the back of that, just listening to you guys talk, I remember when pixEOS launched, I remember watching an interview with Fred and a bunch of other projects, and I think, like, if you look at the site now, it's come such a long way. And what was it you said, Adriana? Forged in the
fire.
Yeah, forged in the fire. I think you just titled your release article right there. But if you look back, like, on where pixEOS and the historical kind of process towards getting this full up and running digital gallery going, in the grand scheme of things, has moved quite fast. I mean, from where digital art has started and where it's gotten to now with the release of this digital art gallery, I mean, it's amazing. It's just too bad that a lot of times in this space, so many people, they just want a finished product, something that's done right away, and I think it kind of overshadows a lot of good projects in a bad way, because blockchain is a building space. I mean, it's a new frontier.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You're touching the very forefront of so much emerging tech when you're dealing with blockchain and crypto. So yeah, you're definitely right.
Yeah, and what I think most of us we don't think about it, this is it's a lab. No one has anything figured blockchain development wise. All of us are trying to build a business in a completely new technology, in a completely new ecosystem, and including supporters, including clientele. So you're always experimenting, and we fell many times. We tried to put out like a game center, our first approach to it, and that we loved because like also inspired by Pixel Master and the $1 Million Page that came before them, was how we can improve that and how we can like finally put arts and gaming together and have a tokenization that makes sense, right? And we tried it many times. We wanted also to put out like a project very quick. Our canvas, I have no idea how long Pixel Master was developing before launching the canvas, but we practically coded the whole tokenized canvas that was not done before in history, because you had the tokenization with the native token of the blockchain, but you didn't have a collateral token of the platform connected with the economy, right? So we practically done it in 2 months. And people, they like were pushing because of delays, but because like I am like super hysterical when it comes to delivery, and I pushed very hard our developers and our team to have it out as soon as possible. It was the same with the game center, and what I learned through all this process is that there is much more research and investigation needed to come out with a robust product. And I think we finally made it. I think the gallery has a lot of like potential and grow and scalability. The gallery doesn't stop there, and we can go through a little bit of like the upcoming implementations after the gallery and what we've been doing business development wise to make this marketplace the most accessible for everyone and the most complete ecosystem for artists. And I'm not only talking about the digital artwork. And I can also explain a little bit what the NFT means for the digital artwork, because I think a lot of people, they have questions about it. Like, I'll just buy a piece of digital artwork, and like what I'm actually buying. It's an image that I can copy, I can store, I can like find it anywhere, right? There's a reason.
Actually, yeah. Let's get into that. With the NFT, I think it's a great entry point, and there's a lot of companies that are doing NFT also on EOS. Have you guys looked at them, or like reach out to them to see if there's any collaboration, to see what they're doing technologically? Is something that's new and interesting?
With whom? I didn't get.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of what I was talking about, a little while ago, when it's like, well, there's these different departments, and some block producers have certain skill sets, others have different core competencies. It's been really interesting working with some of these projects, and I think a marker of a good block producer or even community participant is helping out your neighbor, helping out these projects. And so it's been interesting to maybe leverage all of our different networks and core competencies to get these projects where we want to see them go. And one of the partnerships we were able to leverage successfully for pixEOS was the Threadless partnership. So and I can
what partnership?
Threadless. I can actually let Fred tell you a little bit more about that.
Threadless. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Tell again. I'll step in later.
Oh no, I was just kind of expanding on answering his question and saying, I think we're all kind of doing our best to push these partnerships forward, and that's part of the hard work that goes into these things that maybe isn't seen as much. And NFTs right now, I think, are one of the hottest topics in technology, not even just blockchain or crypto. You're even seeing people like Gary Vee having live discussions about NFTs, and especially I mean, he does the Gary Vee and T every day at about 9 a.m. Eastern, I think. And some of the topics have been about NFTs, and I've been able to successfully have chit chats on these morning calls about Wax and the Top partnership that just recently came out, where they're going to start putting the Top's baseball cards and limited collectibles on these NFTs utilizing the Wax blockchain. So I think there's all of this underground development, and I think when you're in tech, you definitely hear about it. But I think when you're out of tech, you really just end up using these systems and not knowing that they're blockchain at all. There's going to be a whole bunch of people that end up using these NFTs, and they're never going to know what it is. They're just going to trust it. So it's really interesting because a lot of time technology, we just skip over that part and people just use it. It just becomes the norm.
I think, again, I think one of the challenges right now is the onboarding process, right? And I noticed that pixEOS, you guys kind of have your own account system now where you just log in with email or like Twitter.
Yeah, we're working our ideal, and this will take a couple of months maybe to happen, is to make it as seamless as possible, because our goal, we have already the crypto crowd that we're dealing with now, onboarding them, helping them to get acquainted with EOS first. And we have a lot of people coming from other platforms, from other blockchains, because there is nothing on any EOS.io platform with established artists already selling artworks. Right.
Where are you stealing these artists from? Is it mostly from the Ethereum community?
The Ethereum right now is I would say that is the blockchain with more art in the world. So there are several platforms transacting hundreds of thousands of dollars of artworks. So it's already visible there.
What's the biggest project, NFT project on Ethereum?
I think there are two very big competitors: is Super Rare and OpenSea, and then second line Maker's Place, Rarible. There's a bunch of projects right now in Ethereum for different kinds of arts. Some they are more permissible, some they are more, let's say, restrictive with the kind of art that they offer or they allow in the platforms. And we want to be a little bit a mix of everything, so offer space a little bit for trash art, for cypherpunk art, for traditional artworks, drawings, and fashion art. We have a very, very nice use case of an artist that was a completely non-crypto, very young artist from Germany that approached us on Instagram, and we onboarded her. She just got onboarded last week. She never touched crypto before, and she already sold 2 artworks in the platform. So it's also opening the way for mainstream adoption. Right now, it's not that easy and seamless, but one thing that people think in crypto, because they are very used to be waiting for things to happen, for the token to pump, there's no mainstream projects, social arts, whatever it is published online, that didn't grow up with a very solid initial base in their community. So Facebook, they needed to have a very loyal community in the beginning, ambassadors spreading the word around. So when we understand that okay, these dudes, they're here for 1 year and a half, and finally something came out. Let's have a look at it. Let's open an account. Let's try to see what's going on there, right? And we're lacking a lot of at least a little bit of interest, curiosity about what is coming out, and how it evolved comparing with the many other dApps and many other projects out there, with something that is touching the real world so deeply. And we'll have the physicals coming to the platform. So very soon we'll have physical artworks with blockchain provenance in the pixEOS gallery. We'll have our own art collectibles in the gallery. Who's acquainted?
Would someone be able to order that and have it shipped by mail? Is that something? Oh no, are you guys or you guys?
No, yeah, that's a very complicated development process, so it will go through time. It's not something that we'll just publish the ships for everyone to buy, because our content is curated. This is an art gallery. It's not that everyone that paints a painting can publish in the gallery. So we already have a very, very well studied business development for the physical artworks in introduction, and it will go side by side with the advancement of the digital artworks technology. So basically, ultimately, we people, they will buy a ship online, they will stick to their artwork, and they will create their certificate of provenance, immutable and immortalized in blockchain. That's the ultimate goal. But to get there, there's a bunch to happen still.
Yeah, Adrian, you want to chip in?
Oh no, he was actually just answered what I was about to ask, so that was it.
Wait, what did you want to ask?
I just kind of wanted to ask about how the certificate process worked, and he answered it perfectly. So it really didn't leave any room for the question.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this NFT stuff, to be honest with you guys. For me, maybe it's that like one college course I had in university, but I just think it would be a very interesting idea to kind of put a license on your art and sell how many times you could use that license as like an NFT. I'm not sure if that even makes sense, but
Yeah, that's already predicted and coded. Like our NFT contracts
so
that's based on the goods. Very soon,
okay.
I would say to the end of the month, you'll be able to issue limited editions. So you have these artwork, but this artwork is backed by 10 limited editions that represent that. And I would like to explain a little bit how things work in the real art world, because people, they have a lot of questions because maybe they don't understand. It's a very complicated, let's say, universe.
Right.
Why an NFT? What the NFT means for digital artwork is the same as you have a Matisse. I don't know if you are familiar with art, but Matisse is a very famous painter. If you don't have a certificate of provenance in paper, a Matisse painting means nothing. You can sell 200 copies on eBay for $500. It doesn't mean that edition that you're buying, that frame with the painting you're buying, that can look exactly like an original Matisse or Picasso or Dali or Da Vinci or you name it, it's original. So you need to have a provenance on that artwork. Provenance in the real art world, it's something like very complicated. It's something very, very difficult to track, mainly when you're talking about ancient artworks and old artworks, right? So anything that you buy on eBay makes it amazing, but if it's from a famous artist, you need a certificate of provenance. You need a paper in your hands, signed and stamped by an official institution, foundation, the artist family, you name it, that proves that you own that artwork, right? And it's exactly the same with the digital artwork. You create a digital artwork. If you have the NFT, you have the proof that you own that artwork. It doesn't matter how many times you reproduced it. It doesn't matter how many times it's displayed. You are the owner of that artwork. As time goes, and it's already happening a lot on Ethereum, digital artwork, they have value. You have digital artworks in Ethereum for thousands of Ethereums for one artwork. We have artists that
Do you
are in
think
our
there's
platform. I beg your
but do
pardon?
you think there's like I don't know, I feel like the EDM community is like, I wouldn't say a different audience, but do you think there's the appetite within the EOS community to again, what's the word, to purchase these NFT? Like how many artworks have been sold on the gallery so far?
Yeah, the appetite doesn't need to be in the ES community. Like we're building
Mm-hmm.
a gallery in a network or a blockchain. We believe that offers long term or medium term the technology that we need to have first the fastest gallery out there. In the pixEOS gallery,
Fastest
you can
gallery?
go to any gallery out there. Everything is somehow connected with the blockchain, and you will never be 3 minutes waiting for an artwork to load if your internet is decent. And in the other art galleries out there, there are some works that are like 3 to 4 minutes to wait for the artwork to load. So what we're doing here is to looking at mainstream platforms like DeviantArt, Redbubble, Behance, that they are actually already deal with digital artworks, and we will create the system to monetize it. So the ES community and blockchain community is only the first layer for us at the stage because we are all in beta stage, and there is so much still to deploy. There's so much that we still need to do marketing wise, media wise for the gallery. We want to have prominent artists. We want to have as many mainstream non-crypto artists onboarding in the gallery and as many use cases as we can. And the destination of this gallery is to be an online gallery that utilizes blockchain technology as a, let's say, part of the whole tech involved into the product. So that's the goal of pixEOS.
So just to clarify and take a step back, because I think there's a lot of information in that explanation that you just gave. So pixEOS will operate on two very different levels, in a sense. I mean, there will be the digital art, but there will also be the blockchain facet that backs real world art. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So I think that's where maybe some people get really confused, because like on the digital art side, you know, I think that applies to a lot of people who are into technology, who are into blockchain and things like that. But I think a really important point is, like you said, when you own a piece of artwork, you know, you essentially own the papers to say that you own that piece of artwork, right? And I mean, when you take those papers and you put them on the blockchain, I mean, on something that's immutable, that's unchangeable, that essentially can't be lost in a fire or a natural disaster. I mean, that really brings a whole new element to what already exists in the physical artwork.
Exactly, and that's why we're keeping. Many people, they ask us, will you become a DAO, or will you decentralize everything? And the answer at this stage is no. Why? Because we want people to understand that we're building a supply chain system for artists from now, hopefully for 20 years, 100 years from now.
That's actually one of my favorite comments in the whole crypto space, right? Like Jack and I were talking about this the other day a little bit. But like, yeah, will you decentralize everything? No, not everything needs to be decentralized.
No, not everything needs to be decentralized, because like first, the artists, they need to eat, right? We're opening a new opportunity for artists that never monetize their works. And the big example is Stefania from Germany that I have mentioned before. So a 23 years old, brand new artist, like dealing with the fashion and Hollywood style art. And all of a sudden she finds out a platform where she can publish their art as collectibles. And in 2-3 days, she makes $30, right? And if she continues to gather collectors, because she's already launching a trend that I draw this style of art, and I will get these actresses, these dresses, and I'll create my own collection of special NFT collectibles, right? So we're already giving these artists the opportunity to monetize her art from the scratch. So she doesn't need to work a lot on promotion. She just needs to work on being good, visually pleasant for the collectors, right? This is one facet. The facet of supply chain, you always know where her artwork was from the beginning when it was created. So this will also offer for businesses like museums, foundations, the starting point for supply chain. Like museums, they lend artworks to other museums very often. It's a very, very complicated and intricate system. It deals with insurance, it deals with security, it deals with a bunch of stuff. So when we talk about supply chain, like people, they're used to see supply chain and blockchain used in China for food, in Italy for wine. Why? Because you can track from like when you harvest the grapes and when you produce the wine, the whole process is blockchainized, let's say, right? So you can actually prove that that grape was used and those methods were used and that wine was bottled there and that it was labeled there, and you're buying an original product with a real provenance, right? And it's the same for artworks. For example, these artists will always have royalties from her artworks. So if we have an uptrend on on our NFTs, art NFTs transactions, every time that a collector puts her artwork again for sale, and he may buy it for 4 years, but she gets to be a little bit more famous and selling each piece for 20 years, he will put it for sale because it's an old edition of a collectible for 25 years, right? So she will always earn royalties from her creations.
Yeah, and
Doing
I
all
think
for life.
that's a really important distinction to make, right? Like, the artwork itself isn't necessarily decentralized, but the project, pixEOS, and how you guys are going to go about it essentially decentralizes the economy of art in general, where actually real artists and real people creating work get paid. That aspect is completely decentralized. It takes the middleman out. It brings more value to the
Exactly.
creators, but at the
Yeah.
same time, they still have that protection of having everything that is theirs under their owner's rights until they sell it, or even after they sell it, the royalty rights still belong to them. So I think
Exactly.
in that sense, it works really well towards creating a decentralized economy where the people of value actually get paid for what they're contributing.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Without family quarrels or gallery rights, or even, like, we know that is a very, very vicious industry. So art, it's pretty much governed by the galleries, by some very powerful collectors, and by the financial system, right? So from the moment that you create an ecosystem that positions the art directly for the collectors, and where everything is immortalized in the distributed ledger, and you can check every transaction, you can see when it was generated, you can have all these metadata registered to the artwork. This shows us the importance of the NFT, that everyone can see your artwork, but that artwork is yours.
Right. Yeah. Uh, I'm a little lost. I want to be honest. NFT is.
It's
It sounds
it's
like
a
a
lot.
very complicated topic. So.
It it's not that it's complicated. I think it's truly that it's being pioneered at this moment. So it's still confusing because honestly, it's just like this world got opened up where there's all these technology products now. Because what was possible, 3 years ago was not possible, or what's possible today was not possible 3 years ago. So it's like it takes people like Fred to kind of open Pandora's box and say, well, I've got this, new technology. What can I really make of it? And he's done a great job of applying that in the digital art world to create a free market where artists can really take their art and they know they're selling it to people who are trying to buy their art, not make money off of them. And it's just such a more fair economy. So to your point earlier of whether a project is or is not decentralized, well, the question is, does it need to be decentralized, or is it in some way, shape, or form? Maybe the technology isn't as decentralized as people want it to be, but maybe it's creating more of a free market and a better economy for someone. And I think that's the real point of these projects.
Right. Right. I think NFT as like a technology would be able to allow artists to monetize their artwork in ways that maybe was only reserved for traditional galleries. I think that might be, I don't know, like a barrier that's been lowered because again, like before token contracts, right? Issuing your own token of any kind is incredibly difficult, right? You have to be like a multinational public company.
Mm-hmm.
But now with smart contracts, you could do the same things. The way I see NFT, whereas the traditional licensing and collectible verification provenance um, infrastructures were only available to big name galleries like auctioning, the auctioning millions of dollars worth of artwork. Now that could be scaled down, and it could be accessible for the average artist. I think that's very,
Mm-hmm.
very powerful. I'm not sure that like that's what Fred thought about it, but that's how I saw NFT pixEOS when that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's the idea, to grow like slowly but steadily, and implementing more technology for the artists to, like, really believe and see that the platform is useful for them. So we have a lot of things down the line that will come, including AI. We have and already been trained for several months, and we already have a great GAN that will in the future be able to verify the artist style, the artist color, the artist traces, and to tell the artist like how close to original their artwork is, both artists and collectors. So I think there's a lot down the line for this platform that no one has implemented before, and we have developed through this year and a half, and the vision of a product that we know that will solve a bunch of problems of the art world today.
Yeah, agree. Well, I don't think we even got into us on the post, but that's okay. Again, those are kind of recommendations. So I don't know. I think I want to end. Um, like, how do you guys see the EOS space developing in the future? We have, one from the perspective of a project that is operating on EOS. Discussion is a project operating on EOS as well, but it's also we know what we think about EOS as a platform. And then we have another perspective from Adrianna, which is as a maintainer of the platform. So why don't you go first, Fred? Like, building on EOS, how do you see EOS evolving your product, adapting to that evolution of the platform?
Yeah, for us, it's obvious that like short term, we want to have a very mature platform. I think like if we don't grow agnostic, block.
I think we lost you there, Fred.
Okay, maybe we go to Adrianna first. Yeah. So
no problem. We'll
Adrianna,
get Fred to catch up.
yeah, as a top block producer, how do you see being evolving and so on and so forth?
2 years into this project, and like I said, Forged Through Fire, I've learned so much about crypto, blockchain, decentralized governance, financial transactions, just all of these things that got jumbled into one. And I mean, when I joined this project, I had anticipated getting rolled. I mean, I knew it was going to be a steep learning curve for me, but I never anticipated the challenges that actually came about from this. And I say that in the best of ways, because it really is thankless, and it is an everyday struggle. You have to wake up and find purpose in something that nobody's in control of. I mean, there's no one central authority, and people can say, oh, well, block one is, or the block producers are, or China is, whatever their specific perspective and theory offers. And I've got a lot of information flying at me every day. And right now, I'm just really proud, because one thing I've learned over the last 2 years is that time is a huge metric in the success of a decentralized project. I mean, you really cannot measure the strength or power of a decentralized project until it's really had some air underneath it. And now that we've had those 2 years of consistent, projects and development, I'm really excited about what the next 2 years hold, because we've overcome so many huge challenges. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is maybe the WPS system coming online, and there being a worker proposal fund to dip into to provide funding to independent projects. And I think that's really one aspect that will bring even more decentralization into EOS, into the EOS network over the next coming months and years. And I'm really looking forward to it, because while this thing really kicked off more centralized than a lot of other crypto and blockchain community members wanted, I do think that we get more and more decentralized by the day. I think anytime a new EOS account is created, anytime a new project comes out, there's even more hope that there's going to be some kind of mass adoption at the end of this tunnel. And for me, there's just such longevity in the fact that Block One has such a big war chest. They've got, all these different projects funded, and they're going about it in a very clever way. So I'm super excited about what's coming with you.
Yeah, I mean, well, you just touch on, this is one, you touch on WPS, which I think that's, obviously B1's voting is huge news. And then, like you mentioned, the EOS VC. We didn't really get to that today. Have you have provided a lot of insight that I really, really think makes a whole lot of sense. Because again, you guys are in different position as a you guys see and hear a lot of things that maybe the average token holder or even the average project doesn't. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. And that's one of the weaknesses of a decentralized project is that everybody's kind of looking at each other like, do you know what I know? And if you know what I know, is that bad? Is that good? Are we competition? Are we friendly? You know,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of relationship establishing to do in a project like this, and it really you know, it really takes a lot of bravery and a lot of guts to just put yourself out there and put your ideas out there every day. And I give credit to all of the block producers who can stand up and do that every single day as engineers, as, you know, entrepreneurs. They're just really sticking their ideas out there and seeing if they take. And a lot of times, you know, your values and your morals and your ethics come into play because people are going to question you. They're going to ask why this project, why this way. And, you know, if you're not prepared for that, it's a really heavy experience.
It's almost like a common person paparazzi in a sense. I mean, there's so much going on behind the scenes with all of these projects and all of these block producers and all of these systems. It doesn't really matter what chain you're on, but you know, the public always has some criticism of something in the space without truly understanding. Like, I don't know why, but there seems to be this really negative energy a lot of times that comes across as like, you know, you're not doing things the way that you should do them, or building things out the way that you should be building them out, or even things like NFTs where people don't really understand the point of it. They look at it and they're just like, you know, why do I need pogs on the blockchain? And it's kind of like, well, you don't just, it's not just a pog on the blockchain.
The use case. It's the use case, I swear. It's screaming these things repeatedly from the top of my lungs to other people in the crypto space that has, you know, created almost that tribal aspect, because I've been in crypto and got involved in crypto back in like 2014, 2015, and, you know, was a Bitcoin maximalist and really took to Bitcoin, and then started learning about other chains and other consensus algorithms and other ways, you know, to have a blockchain involved and be distributed. And it's funny because I think, like I tell my friends all the time, like 4 years ago, me would punch me in the face now because my version and definition of decentralization and blockchain and what Bitcoin is and the value of it has all evolved and changed because of this process that I've been through. So, you know, it's interesting. I think everybody has their own perspective of this. And it is kind of a community that regularly likes to call one another out for their views, which is good because it creates an anti-fragile community, but it's also really toxic sometimes.
I
think it could get toxic.
Yeah.
And I think from like a developer level, that's great. I mean, if you're constantly being called out and you're constantly having to prove yourself, then that's good. But I think where the toxicity comes in is, you know, people who might not understand this so well, and they just don't want to take the time to learn something new. So they buckle down, they hunker down, and they hold on to their views, which, you know, might even be the projects that they're so adamant about might even be evolving, but they've just, you know, decided not to care about evolution or how this whole thing is going to play out. And
right.
yeah, that's a rant for a different time, I guess. Sorry, I apologize.
No, it's okay.
We live that every day.
Yeah, I think
we do.
I think especially
when you're on this side, like you have like so many supporters in the beginning and like so much hype about it, and then you like take it really seriously. You get passionate about it. You didn't disappear with or bounced from it, and you're working really hard. And when you launch something meaningful, like where's everyone?
yeah.
Yeah.
Where are those guys threatening my life and my health back then if I wouldn't deliver something cool and something that works? And like, hey guys, we delivered. Where are you now?
You want your friends, you know, you appreciate your friends' support. I appreciate my friends' support, but I know exactly what Fred's talking about, where it's like, you're going to release this thing and everybody's so pumped for you. They're so excited because you're so excited, but maybe they don't really understand what it is. And maybe they haven't really taken the time to dive into the project. So there is a lot of weak support that comes along with this. Where I don't know about Fred, but I know I've gotten better at identifying, where I'm letting that support in from, because it can really take you for a ride if you let it. It's not always fun.
No, it's not fun at all.
Yeah, and on
It's
that,
fun right now when you launch, you see it working, and you see that like other communities that they were haters of EAS and like EAS is a scam and EAS will never go anywhere, and then they join the platform and they say like, "Come on, super
This is
fast."
great. Yeah.
Oh, there's some super cool things. Like I can delegate resources. I can have a 12 characters account without going to rent a human readable account. So there are so many cool facts about this infrastructure you're working on. The free transactions, they're super fast. Like I cashed out, it was immediately in my account. I could transfer to the exchange and then cash out to have like real money tomorrow to go make some shopping, right? So there's so many good things about what we're doing and how we're doing, and it's kind of like sad to see that other communities, they need to come from the outside as haters to tell you how cool your project is when you're like practically being ignored by the whole community.
Well, I think blockchain enthusiasts are nothing if they're not a migration of haters. I mean, most of us on this call included. I mean, I think everyone's went through a phase of being a maximalist at some point, and I think that's just part of getting involved in the space. But hopefully, over time, with IBC and things like this, like Jack said earlier, there'll be a point in time where people don't even know that they're using it, and they won't even know what blockchain they're on, and they'll be showing up to projects like pixEOS in the gallery, and it'll be a very easy process to log on and create, or log on and upload, or log on and purchase artwork. And I think that's at that time, all of us can kind of sit down and relax and think like, all of those times that we went through previously, no matter what our situations would have been, it's all worthwhile now, because we did make a difference. We did bring something to the world that didn't exist previously.
Right. That's the goal from your lips, man.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, and on that beautiful end note by Jim, we're gonna close out this episode. So I just want to thank everybody for coming on again. I want to thank Fred. I want to wish you the best of luck with the gallery launch. I heard it's only so you guys have more things coming out, more news, and where can people find out what you're doing? Stay up to date with your project.
Yeah, we're pretty much everywhere in social media. So we're in on Twitter. If you look for pixEOS or EOS Pix, you'll find us there. We're always updating information there. Our Telegram group is open. Our team is like super present and super proactive and active on helping people. So we've been helping artists and collectors to onboard EOS on daily basis. So all of us, we are like permanently attempt and trying to have things sorted and explain and educate the communities on how to deal with EOS and how to deal with gallery, how to publish artwork, what is an NFT, how we'll solve the problems of the art world and all that. So we're pretty active for a year and a half. Everyone knows where to find us. So in our Telegram group, pixEOS, you just need to look for it and you'll find it. And on Twitter, we're updating quite often the whole thing, and you can see the shout outs from the artists, what they publish, what they sell, when they sold, how many they sold. So it's been like super active Twitter. We're super happy to see what's going on there.
Cool. And Adrianna, so I've been seeing you a lot more on Twitter. So I'm guessing Twitter is the best place to find you. But also, Cypherglass got a Twitter account. You guys got a Telegram group that people go on, newbies, experienced users.
Yes, and if anybody is interested in working with Cypherglass, or if you're a project that's looking for a little help getting your startup or getting your project off the ground, you can always email us at info@cypherglass.com, or just go straight onto our website at cypherglass.com to learn more about where to find us. And as you mentioned, Twitter and Telegram are always a great way to get in touch with the Cypherglass team.
Awesome. And my co-host, Jimmy, thank you very much for joining this amazing episode. And I want to thank. Sorry, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, that's okay. I was going to say thank you.
Well, I think you might have some things to plug too, right? Like Uplift Nation just launched, so you want to plug that again? Let people know.
Well, yeah. We did just get our educational and our social site off the ground. If you don't know anything about Uplift Nation, we're looking to basically create a blockchain philanthropy that has accountability and trustlessness, and there'll be more coming out from us very soon, actually.
Very cool.
Awesome.
And as always, we have our 2 loyal listeners, my teammates. I want to thank them for listening. And of course, this is the Up for Discussions podcast, and this whole podcast cannot be created, listened to, consumed without your support and the support of the projects and the blog producers that come onto this show. With that, we see you next week. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.